At Barcelona's Sagrada Familia Cathedral, the soundtrack was not of chiming bells, but of banging pots and pans on neighbouring balconies. This is the traditional protest of Catalonia's independent supporters. They're furious with the Spanish cabinet deciding to suspend the region's autonomy and impose direct rule from Madrid. Out with the forces of occupation, chanted protesters outside an office of Spain's central government in Barcelona, as the Madrid government's intentions were made plain.
I am very happy that a lot of people are going out in the street. We will not stop.
Do not forget that, for example, the American independence wasn't legal. All independence, by definition, is illegal.
Eulalia Reguant is a member of Catalonia's regional parliament that voted to defy Spain.
Independence is not a lost cause. Independence is more necessary than ever. People are our only weapon because we know that is the only way to build a society that is fair and equitable.
The last time Europe witnessed a major country breaking apart was in the early 1990s, when Yugoslavia disintegrated in a series of wars that left 20,000 dead in Croatia and more than 100,000 killed in Bosnia. Now, those countries had to fight for their independence. Catalonia is different. It doesn't have a standing army, and as far as anyone knows, it doesn't have a secretive paramilitary organisation like the IRA. Catalonia's decade-long drive towards independence has relied on the power of peaceful public protests, but it's met total resistance from Madrid and the European Union, which doesn't want to encourage other separatist movements in France, Italy and Belgium. This week, Spain's detention of two leading independence activists on sedition charges fueled Catalan anger. Núria Simon, a tour guide in Barcelona, is among protesters who claim the future of democracy is at stake.
As a Catalan, I feel very mistreated from the Spanish government. It's nothing against the country, it's nothing against our neighbors in Spain, it's nothing against the people, it's against the Spanish government. They've crossed a red line 1, 2, 3 times again. We tax much more than the rest of Spain. There is no freedom of expression nowadays.
After the October 1st referendum judged illegal by Spain's highest court, Carles Puigdemont, head of Catalonia's autonomous government, declared independence. But he immediately suspended the process for 2 months to try to secure negotiations with the Spanish government. Madrid was resolute. There would be no discussions about unravelling the ties that bind. Puigdemont is being advised by political scientist Marc Sanjom Calvet, who outlines the motivations for independence.
An important aspect is identity, recognition of national identity. A second important element is economy. Catalonia is a relatively rich region and would like to get to raise the taxes and to get its own share in its wealth.
There are 7.5 million Catalans who comprise a sixth of Spain's population. The region is Spain's most popular tourist destination, with 18 million visitors every year. Many are drawn to the avant-garde buildings and their surreal rooftops designed by 19th century architect Antoni Gaudi. Overall, Catalonia generates nearly a fifth of Spain's annual income, but Barcelona claims that of every tax dollar levied by Madrid, only 63 cents is reinvested in Catalonia. In particular, the shortfall has negatively impacted the region's infrastructure.
The Catalan institutions have been asking for a long time for a new arrangement, new constitutional arrangements, allowing Catalonia to be recognized as a nation, allowing Catalonia to have a new financial system, and to get more powers in international sphere. The Catalan government should show to the world that Catalonia wants to be a country and wants to be a partner to the other European countries.
Then there's the hangover of history. During the 1930s civil war, left-wing Catalonia was the last part of Spain to fall to fascist forces led by General Francisco Franco, an ally of Adolf Hitler. As Spain's dictator, Franco wreaked vengeance by outlawing the Catalan language, removing cultural institutions, executing opponents, and imprisoning 20,000 people. The language and civil rights were only restored after Franco's death in 1975, but bitterness lingered.
Current attitudes of the Spanish government remind to some Catalans to this Franco period.
Built on such a legacy, Catalonia's independence movement is dividing friends and families. Nuria Lopez Ontiveros, an English teacher, and her husband Santiago, a publishing executive, have 2 children and are on opposite sides of the debate.
We are going rapidly towards disaster, and I feel very, very powerless to stop it.
All we can do is try to show the world our will to be independent in the most peaceful possible way.
I think it's suicide, it's economical suicide.
I think it's absolutely worth it.
I would love my children to live in a world with less barriers, no more. So for me, independence, Brexit, the Catalonian independence, the Basque independence movement, everything that creates more reasons to be separated conceptually is a step backwards for me.
The first thing is respect. Respect towards our language, towards our culture, towards our tradition, because they are being systematically attacked. And this is not the one thing that has starting to happen in the last few weeks. This has been happening for years.
They really talk about how things are going to be better. And when I look around, I see the quality of life here is really, really good.
There's uncertainty, there are dangers, of course there are. But I wonder what will happen to us if we remain now, at this point. I'm much more scared of that.
Before the referendum, opinion polls suggested a majority of Catalans, like retired geography professor Juan Antonio Melendez, favoured unity with Spain.
Many Catalan people are so worried. They have already transferred their assets to banks outside of Catalonia. There is a real fear of a bank freeze. This is very important for people who have their whole life savings, old people who saved for their pension and don't want to lose it.
Uncertainty over how independence might affect the economy has led to 700 companies, including Catalonia's Caixa Bank, protectively moving their registered offices out of the region. Pro-independence organisations have urged account holders to withdraw their money from the bank to protest. Student Mark Torano was happy to oblige.
We want to let the banks know that we don't agree with them taking the headquarters out from our country just because we want to declare independence. I'm not sure if this protest is going to work. I didn't take a big amount, but I think it's just a symbolic thing.
Despite the hard pushback on their independence dream, the secessionists refuse to believe their cause is futile and take to the streets in their tens of thousands.
The Spanish government has completely lost our respect. It doesn't have any dignity or respect. They're worse than Franco, because Franco already died a long time ago, and we're supposed to have moved on, but nothing has moved on. We're even worse.
Back in the cafe, husband and wife remain at loggerheads.
The people who really advocate for independence, they are really fearless of the consequences, and they think at whatever cost. And I think that happens because we have lived in a very comfortable society, and we don't realize really what any cost means.
I think at first it's going to be rough, but I think that in the long run it's going to be a positive thing for all of us. If we collect our taxes, not having to share them with the rest of Spain, I think we might be better off.
This is Spain's most serious political crisis in 40 years, and today's developments are certain to trigger large demonstrations of the kind seen earlier this week. The cabinet decision has to be approved by the Senate, but with support in Madrid across party lines, that is likely. This is uncharted territory for modern Spain, and the divisions between the two sides seem to be deepening by the hour.